and then this is from one of the prototypes, the way that the cladding is then mounted onto the structure itself. Quite an interesting technique, and this is something that Sail have developed themselves from our original design intent drawings, where there is a aluminium facade with standing seams, and then they attach with a series of rods the tubes for the sunscreen. There you see the tubes below, the fixing rods that can be adjusted in length, and then the standing seams for the aluminium subcladding. And that's what it'll look like when it's finished. This is the prototype that the GIG have made. These are the proud Saudi Aramco directors, Fuad in the foreground, Noor in the background. Saudi Aramco actually put 6 people in our office for 2 years whilst we were designing the building. We didn't realize that we were going to do this, but when we read the contract, it was there. 6 people are going to live in your office. We were a bit scared about that. They wanted mosques and all sorts of things, prayer rooms. But it was really good fun, and these people had a great time. I think we learned a lot about them. They learned, I'm sure, a lot about us. I'll skip this one, but it's, time is probably running short. A lot of testing, not just our architects doing sand blowing. This is the big aeroplane engine they have at Stella to blow water at the facade. Really quite heroic. But it's not really water that's the problem in Saudi Arabia, it's dust. I wouldn't say this is an everyday occurrence, but you get days like this. There's a wall of dust blowing across the desert at our building. The prototype, or one of the prototypes, has been on the site now for a couple of years, and they don't clean it. But this is what it looks like unclean. Still quite bright, still quite reflective. If you come closer, you see all the dust and all the not just dust that's the problem, it's also the condensation that's the problem. Condensation in hot countries occurs on the outside of buildings, not on the inside of buildings, because the temperatures are the other way around. So you get condensation on the facade, then the dust, so you get the dust really sitting in the facade itself. You can try and clean it with hoses and people, but the building is really rather high. It's about 90 meters high, the tower, so we can't do that. In our office, we have our architects who come with big brooms, but that's probably not too practical. So we're going to use our friends at KUKA who make the robots, and we've developed together with them this robot, you see in there, who's going to climb all around the facade and keep it clean. Actually, there's not just going to be one, I think there's going to be a whole little family of robots. I think it's going to be quite nice because every time you come to the museum, you can play the game of spot the robot. Where is he today? Where has he gone now? He's not going to be in the same place as last time. And he won't be in the same place when you leave as when you came. I think that's quite a nice thing. So we hope we can develop this and it works. He sort of hangs onto the tubes and he has these big toothbrush things that go around and wash it continually. It's not such a new thing. We've had robots washing floors and swimming pools before, but on the facade, quite new. So this is what it would look like on 12th of December, 12 o'clock on the 12th of December 2012. You used to always say that, but I've just heard that they've put it back. They've given up with the 12-12-12 thing. They're a bit delayed, and it's going to be more like 13-13-13. So maybe 2 years, and it's there. Working in Saudi Arabia has been actually great fun. We were really, really worried that it wouldn't be very much fun at all. Half of our staff are women. Will they be able to work on the project? Would they be able to go on the site? It's been good fun. These are our architects, or 2 of them are our architects, on site in Saudi Arabia. You can tell which 2 are ours because of the shoes. There are all sorts of cultural issues, but it has gone an awful lot better than we feared. And we do have women on site in Saudi Arabia. This is from the groundbreaking ceremony last year. They do things in big scale. It's a 60-meter wide screen, a little bit wider than ours today. And on the left there is King Abdullah himself. The site is very big, very large. There's about 2,000 people working there. And although they are working very hard, they're delayed, but that's the way it looked a couple of months ago. See, superimposed on the tower itself. Still a little way off, but it's getting there. The light isn't flashing, so I'll leave you really just with this last project, which is in Oslo. Many of you might have been there, but if you haven't, please do come to the opera in Oslo. It's right beside our office. Our office is down here on the front, not the boat, but the yellow building. And it's quite good for us to have, at last, have a building in our own backyard. Most of our buildings are a long, long way away. It's an opera in Norway. How do you make an opera in Norway? You know, Norway is a social democratic sort of a place. Maybe it's a bit like Sweden, I'm not sure, but you have a long tradition of opera, at least. In Norway, we don't. And we don't really take kindly to elitist cultural institutions like the opera. So how do you make an opera in that sort of a place work? Well, our take on that was to put the people on the roof itself. It's built out of the fjord, so there's no place for a plaza or a public square, so we put the plaza, opera plaza, on the roof itself, and you can walk all over it. And if you can walk on something, you can touch it, you can jump up and down on it, then you own it. Public ownership. You feel it's your opera. You might not like the opera, but you like this opera. And because people love walking on it, and they now actually love going inside it, difficult to get a ticket. You can go there in the winter, with your skis, or you can go there in the summer with your picnic. And it's not really a building at all. A piece of landscape, it's a piece of nature. Inside, very simple, very few materials. The foyer, which is really all about theatre as well. It's about people on the outside looking in, people on the inside looking out, or the other way around. It's really a dramatic place. Full of art. This one's by Olafur Eliasson. It's a light sculpture in the foyer. And from the foyer, you go up this wooden staircase, through the wooden wall. Actually, you go inside the wooden wall that separates the everyday life from the magical world of the opera. Walking inside the wall is like walking inside a tree. Everything is wood. The floor is wood, the ceiling is wood, the walls are wood, the balustrade is wood. You're inside a tree, and when you come out, you're in this auditorium. An opera auditorium, as you all know, doesn't use microphones, so it has to be built like a violin, like a musical instrument. All the surfaces need to reflect and resonate the sound. And I'm showing you this because we've done a metal curtain, as you can see, so I think it's okay to show it in plot. Well, I'm sorry, it isn't actually metal. If you go a little bit closer, you'll find out it's woven. It's woven by a textile artist. She's called Pei White from California, and she hasn't used a single metal thread, I'm afraid, in the whole curtain. But if you go back 10 meters, you'd really think it was aluminium, or even stainless steel. So we don't actually have to use stainless steel, we can weave it. The opera is actually much, much more than the auditorium. It's a big machine. It's places to play the piano, to rehearse dancing, to make the scenery, do the painting, and make the dresses and the wigs. All around, you can look from the street into the windows and see all this going on. It's about creating ownership. But the main thing, really, is the space, the roof. The one time our choice of material as being politically incorrect was here in Oslo, where we chose to use Italian marble and not Norwegian stone, Norwegian granite. That decision to use Italian marble went as far as the Norwegian Parliament, the Stortinget, where we were happily approved, but we upset an awful lot of people because we used Italian marble. Anyway, we used Italian marble because it's really rather dark and gloomy many days in Oslo, and the Italian marble shines and gleams. Each piece is cut from the solid stone, again using a computer-driven cutting machine, milling machine from our three-dimensional drawing. There are 30,000 individual pieces of stone, all of them different, each one with a little number on the bottom, and they go together to make a three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle. The whole thing is designed by artists as a composition. You can see the patterning in the stone. It's a piece of nature. It's a mountain. It's a mountain you can walk on. Norwegians love walking out in nature, whether it's woods or mountains or whatever it is. Walking in nature is what Norwegians like doing the most, I think. So they love walking on our mountain, going to the top with their picnics, maybe with their children, take a swim. Or you can have a lot of people there. There's 7,000 people at the same time watching the simultaneous projection of Carmen on the big screen as it's going on inside. More groups of people, big parties, kings and queens. I show this one often around the world where they do have kings and queens. They can't understand that the little man in the middle there is the Norwegian king. Usually the whole balcony is reserved for the king. And the great thing about this building is that people use the roof in all sorts of ways that we never imagined. You know, we always believed that people would walk on the roof. It would be popular to go there. We didn't think that people would start having their picnics there. We didn't really think that people would start swimming there or making food there or even sleeping there. There are blogs on the web, if you go there, that describe people doing all sorts of things on the roof, both during performances and after performances. This man took his motorbike there. Please do come to Oslo, bring your motorbike. But if you go on the roof, you'll be chased off. There are signs saying no motorbiking. But come and visit us at our office. We'd be delighted to see you there. Thank you very much.